Welcome to Cine here, where you come for all your media needs. My name is Ray.
It's your boy Nicky Tay Tay.
And today, we are reviewing Annihilation, The Shimmer.
Directed by Alex Garland, starring Natalie Portman, Jennifer Lee, Gina Rodriguez, Oscar Isaacs, Tessa Thompson. I mean, the cast is phenomenal. I very much appreciated, having these lead actors in this new sci-fi thriller early in the year.
And with an all-women's cast, I think they did very well for the most part when it comes to acting. Natalie Portman brought it, and it wasn't just a comedy movie, because usually when you get an all-women's cast, it's more centered around comedy. So it's kind of good, and also a breath of fresh air to see women in more movies as a group in this sci-fi movie, Annihilation.
This movie is everything that Ghostbusters wasn't. You have an all-women's cast with phenomenal acting leading the way. I thought the acting was by far one of the best things about this movie. Now, on top of the acting, you have a visually beautiful movie. Again, it's Alex Garland, the same director who brought you Ex Machina. So I was very excited to see another sci-fi thriller coming from him, especially after that beautiful movie, which I absolutely was in love with. Annihilation does a great job at setting the tone of this sci-fi puzzle that you're about to take part in.
And coming off Ex Machina, he gave you everything you wanted visually from this movie.
Oh my, everything.
He does a good job bringing Jeff Vandermeer's vision from his book series onto the big screen.
Now, personally, I didn't read any of the books in the Southern Reach trilogy, but Annihilation, like Ray said, is the first part of the trilogy. Alex Garland said specifically that he wanted to focus the movie on solely the first book and not the entire trilogy. Now with that, reading the synopsis of each book in the trilogy, I can see where Alex Garland takes his own vision of the story and kind of diverges from what you would expect with the book series. Which is fine, because the movie, again, was a solid piece of work, but I'm not sure what that means for the potential of a sequel and then maybe even a third installment if you're gonna compare the movie to the book.
And with him going into a different direction than the books, you can kind of tell that his work is really not as good as the book series was.
Oh, really?
Yes.
So the film focuses on Natalie Portman, who plays a research biologist, as she goes into the zone known as the Shimmer.
The boundary's getting bigger, it's expanding. We're talking cities, states.
You need to know what's inside. So do I.
To figure out what happened to her husband, who previously was in the area on the expedition before her. Now, without spoiling it too much, again, this is kind of where it gets Stargate-ish in terms of this is an unknown and we have to research and figure out what is going on. And this is where the plot really kicks in and allows your mind to kind of do some mental backflips as you're trying to truly understand what's really taking place.
And the movie starts off very slow. The movie pacing overall is kind of slow. And the best parts of the movie is the exploration into the Shimmer. And that's where the movie stands out the most.
But it's not so slow like Hostel slow. It's like, Inception slow. But it definitely does take some time to build up to the adventure that's going to happen and build that excitement and wondering what's going to happen to the characters.
I think that this movie tries to go over your head as they tell the story of what's actually going on. And some may find it hard to keep up with what's going on in the movie as far as wrapping your brain around what's going on.
And I think that's a fair point. I mean, this isn't a movie a typical person I think would enjoy very much. This is a movie that you do have a lot of dialogue after watching it. You do want to sit and talk about the possibilities of what you saw. What does it mean? You explore different avenues of life, death, and just overall living. What does it mean to be alive, and the possibility of, other life or technology. It raises a lot of questions, which is, for me, great because, hey, I love to talk about movies. This is what we do for you guys. But for some, it might be too many open questions by the time you finish the movie.
And now the movie's not bad, so we don't want to give that impression that we think that the movie is bad. But we do want to let you know that sometimes the movie can try to go over your head. When I think that they could have better explained actually what was going on versus trying to leave it up to your interpretation.
Or even if they didn't explain anything, raise the entertainment factor. Give people a movie that's going to grab them even if they don't want to be mentally stimulated. Again, for me, loved it. But for the average person, I know it's going to be maybe a bit much to see, especially pay for in this day and age.
Now, one thing that can be praised about this movie was the fact that they did try to go outside the box. They did not stay in the box of the normal typical sci-fi movies. They did try to go big, and maybe that was the reason why the movie slipped. Now, I do want movies to try to go big and do something different, but sometimes doing something different ain't always successful. But I do love the attempt, and this movie does get credit for that.
Yeah, definitely. Alex Garland again proves that it's okay to think outside the box and take risks with their movies. You know, these psychological thrillers, I think, are becoming more of the norm in everyday movie scenarios. So please continue to try to provide me with more mind-stimulating films such as this one.
So as I was watching the movie, it put me in the mind frame of the movie The Arrival.
Okay.
And I thought that the movie was going to go more in that kind of direction, but it didn't. As I did like the meat of the story, the ending kind of threw me off. I'm not going to say it was bad, but it wasn't what I was expecting. So that did turn me off a little bit from this movie. But like I say, overall, this movie is a good movie, and I think that you should watch it. Maybe not pay for it and watch it, but if you ever see it on Netflix or anything like that, it's definitely worth something to turn on. Just make sure you're not doing anything else as you watch it, because you might just miss something or get lost in the story. So I'm going to leave this movie off with a 6.75. Not quite the 7 or 8 upper echelon that I would like it to be, but it is good at where it's at a 6.75. So go check it out and let us know what you think.
I love a lot of stuff about this movie. The all-woman lead cast with the phenomenal acting, the visuals of the film, the overall direction that Alex Garland took it. Everything about this film is what I want from my movies. I love these mind-bending, make you think, have a great dialogue after the film experiences that we rarely ever get at the movie theater. For me, I'm going to give this film a 6.9. As Ray said, the ending was kind of not what I expected. I wanted to be a little more entertaining and to grab me. I think the cliffhanger endings for a movie that could potentially not have a sequel, or a sequel that will be way different than the second installment in the book, is something I'm not really excited for. I think what they did overall was enough, again, to warrant me giving it a 6.9. That completes the review of the film Annihilation. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you can stay up to date with all of our review content as we continue to review movies throughout the rest of the year.
Make sure you also follow us on all our social media platforms at Seen It Here. You can find us anywhere. We want to hear from you.
If there's a movie that you would like us to review, please let us know. We would love to take time out to review some of the classic movies, especially ones that we loved growing up as a child, right?
I agree with you.
And don't forget, you've seen it here.
This movie had an all-women's cast for the most part, and most of the women in this movie did really good at portraying the character that they were going for. It wasn't bad, like...
You about to take
There
my
we
joke.
go.
You about to take my joke.
It wasn't bad like Ghostbusters.
Yep, there we go. There you go. I'm gonna just let you have it. The way I did mine's a little bit better.
Let me hear it. If it's better, I'll give it to you.
Yeah, can you take it back? Because I don't want to say everything. It wasn't everything.
Huh?
Can you go back to coming off of Ex Machina?
Okay.
I want to take my comment.
I said visually. That's all I said. I didn't go into the movie. I said visually.
Yeah, leave it.
I said visually. I'm very specific in my words.
I'm gonna leave it.
It ain't Ex Machina. Kind of put me in the mind frame of the movie The Arrival. And I thought that...
It's pretty good. I'm just giving my background. I was just giving like, trying to make it feel like a conversation.
Okay. Just took me off. I'm going to start over from One Take Shorty. Okay.
Classic movies, especially ones that we loved growing up as a child, right?
I agree with you.
Say something else. Say one more thing. Before I say it, and don't forget, I feel like I need one more thing. All right.
I don't know what to say. So I gotta talk it all. I'm just gonna cut my part off. Into the further we go, you're closer to the camera.
Yeah. Was we reviewing Insidious? Into the Father.
Ain't that what it's called, right? What?
The shimmer.
Shimmy. What is it?
The shimmer.
Into the shimmer we go closer. And I move closer to them.
Hey, you Wakanda? What is going on?
No, you said like a creepy old lady.
No, that's a creepy old African lady. Into the Father. Into the Father. Like, what are you doing?
Into the. I can't say it no other way. Yeah, my accent. You get the African old lady.
Into that Shima. Like Jamaican, like not even Jamaican, Caribbean. Into that Shima. Into the Shima place.
We go. I don't know what.
I know.
What I'm doing.
I don't have anything. I don't have anything. And cut. There we go. That's the blooper. There you go.